Welcome to another episode of Artist Live. Let's get it.
They call him hunt, fly. Hunt, the wild fowl die. Hunt, fly. Hunt, the wild fowl die. They call him rock the riders. They call him the wild fowl die. They call him rock the riders. They call him the wild fowl die. They call him hunt, fly.
Welcome to Artist Live. I'm your host, Artist, and this show is about hip-hop, urban culture, and entrepreneurship. Episodes drop every Friday at midnight like clockwork. I know y'all didn't get an episode last week. Sorry, I decided to take a break. Everybody knows that I hardly take breaks, but I actually needed one. Sometimes you need to take time for yourself because things can get overwhelming, things happen, and sometimes you just need to take a what the fuck day. So I decided to take a what the fuck day. So forgive me, y'all. So today, I'm going to talk about what they said. No gossip. I actually got the receipts, y'all. From urban movies, classic movies, cultural movies. From star actors to B-list actors to hood actors, and some of my favorite, whether it's comedy, drama, mystery. I got the receipts today. I got the quotables. So, y'all already know what it is, people. Let's get it. It's time for another segment of What's Poppin', y'all. Stone, that's what's poppin'. Robert, that's what's poppin'. Ike, that's what's poppin'. Bread, that's what's poppin'. Cold cheese, that's what's poppin'. Preach, that's what's poppin'. Brenda, that's what's poppin'. Wyatt Earp, that's what's poppin'. Doc Holliday, that's what's poppin'. Jack Nicholson, that's what's poppin'. This episode of Artist Live is brought to you by RSS.com. If you've been thinking about starting your own podcast, RSS.com is the way to go. They make it super easy to get your show up and running. I'm talking distribution to all the major platforms, analytics to track your growth, and even options to monetize. That's exactly how I host Artist Live podcast, and it's been a game changer. When you're telling stories, sharing music, or just want your voice heard, RSS.com gives you the tools to make it happen. So, what are you waiting for? Start your podcast at RSS.com and join the movement. That's RSS.com, the easiest way to podcast. I will leave my link in the episode description. Thank you. Artist is the Artist Live What's Poppin' Artist of the day, y'all. Let's get it.
They know everything about you. They always doubt you. They throw rocks from a glass house. They hate your spouse. They can't keep your name out of their mouth. They live a miserable existence. They inconsistent. They ignorant. They do whatever they can. They can't keep a man. They getting killed by their inner demons. They always scheming. They swallow semen. They need goals, they liars. The sad part about them is they think that they fire. They suck, they lame ducks, they heads covered up. They ass out, they need to reroute. They wonder why I'm airing them out. They foul, they wolves, they stay on the prowl. They don't think about the future, they living for now. They loud, they goofies, they selling loosies, they speak loosely. They think that they tough, they say your best is never enough. They cry babies, they emotional. They shooting kids, they killing babies, they whack, they need to fall back.
That was Riders with They. That was me with They. That song can be found on a Riders album, track 10. It's available on all streaming platforms. Welcome to Riders Live. I'm your host, Riders. So today's episode is called They Said. So I'm going to go through some of the quotables from key actors in my favorite movies. And my favorite movie is Coolie High, so we're going to start there. So this is from Stone at the dice game at Martha's when he tell Preach, "Oh, hell no. You ain't finna walk me or make me or break me." Then the second quotable is from the car stealing scene when he say, "Hey, dummy, keep smiling and keep your hands on the goddamn wheel. I ain't going to jail." Then another quotable is like when they're at the store at Martha's when he say, "We was shooting dimes," and then Preach have to correct them. Another quotable, "I'ma stump your ears together." That's when they call Preach up in a store. So now we're gonna switch over to Robert. Robert quotables is like when they was in a bullpen and Preaching Cochise got out, Robert said, "I guess I ain't gotta tell you who told on us." That's one. Then the last quotable for Robert is, "I bet you won't tell nothing else," after they whooped Cochise under the L. Rest in peace, Cochise. So Cochise, at the dice game, he intervened when Stone was like, "Hell no, you ain't gonna walk me and make me or break me." Cochise says, "Excuse me, what did you say?" And Cochise and Stone was about to fight before Preach broke it up. Another quotable from Cochise in the hallway is, he said, "Hey man, from one friend to another, I need you to do me a favor." And Preach be like, "What? What you talking about?" Cochise be like, "Hey, get that chick out of here." And then Preach be like, "Why, man, why? Why, man, I can always get it off of her." And Cochise be like, "No, man, you gotta take that chick somewhere else. I don't want her here." You know? And then when they go back in the hallway, Preach be like, "Hey man, I'm gonna take Sandra home." And then Cochise be like, "Man, you ain't gotta make no speech about it, man. Just go. Bye." So I like that. And then Cochise, when he was in a car with Stone and Robert and Preach, when they running and evading the police, Cochise say, "Damn, Stone, you look so ugly." To me, that was funny. Then also, in a party, when Cochise was fit to fight Damon, he said, "Look, man, I apologize, but that's as far as it goes." So that's another good quotable that I like out of the movie. And then when they in the gym room, Coach East, he make a basket, and he say, that's how you put it through the hoop, Junior, you know. And then when they get confronted in the gym, and the guy say, hey, I ain't playing with no chump that squill on their friends. And they be like, man, what you talking about? You talked about Stone and Robert to get out of jail. And then Coach East be like, man, that's a lie. And then Damon come and say, hey, Stone and Robert gonna kick your ass soon as they get out of jail, chump. And then Priest say, hey, you better carry your bald head ass on out of there. They had me cracking up, y'all. I'm sorry. So, I like Preach when they went to go celebrate Coach East getting a scholarship. When he was checking the guys when he said, y'all just mad because I don't want to be a factory worker or a football player. Y'all mad because y'all just a bunch of stupid bitches that don't know shit. Boy, that was funny. That was funny to me, y'all. Then one of the other quotables is when Preacher be in the bathroom, he be like, hey, if you ain't got to pee, let me. And the guy be like, damn. So I like when Preacher say that. And then what else? Oh, yeah, I like when Preacher say, hey, you better carry your bald head ass on out of here. I like when he say that. I already said that. I like when Preach found out that Mr. Mason, the teacher, got them out of jail. Mr. Mason say, hey, man, you're one of the smartest kids I know. I hate to see a kid that got potential. I hate to see him keep messing up. What is it you want? Son, with your brains, you can have it. What is it you want? And then Priest be like, I want to live forever. And then Mr. Mason say, hey, man, I'm through with you, Jack. Don't count on me, jail, or anything else. So I'm saying that to say that at that point in the movie, Preach and Coach East, they was puzzled about who got them out of jail. And when they found out that, Preach found out that Mr. Mason got them out of jail, he was happy because it was like a sigh of relief. Even though, things still wound up being tragic, Let me see. We're going to go to Sanford and Son. Now, Red Fox is funny. So, I never liked Lamont. Even when I was in a diaper, I never liked Lamont ass. So I just want to say that. But I like when Fred used to say, you big dummy. I used to like when he said that. And that's just my favorite line. Ike from Tombstone. I like when he say, hey, what's wrong with him? And the guy say, he's a London. And then Ike said, well, I hope you die. That's so funny to me. I don't wish death on nobody, but when they actually said it in the movie Tombstone, the whole interaction, that shit was funny as hell. Now, next is Doc Holliday. I like when him and Ringo got into it. I guess that was at the OK Corral or somewhere. And Doc Holliday told Ringo, say when. So Ringo was like, hey, Holliday, my beef ain't with you, Doc. My beef ain't with you, Holliday. I was just fooling around. And then Doc Holliday said, I wasn't. Say when. And then he winked at him and shot Johnny Ringo in the head. And then the best quotable is, I'm your Huckleberry. I like that. And then before Doc Holliday actually did the pistol duel with Johnny Ringo, he said, "Well, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody walked all over your grave." That was funny to me. That was funny. Now I got some more quotables. This quotable is actually from Brenda and Cooley High. This is a restaurant, not an alley, you know. I like that. She said that when she broke up the dice game with Preach, Stone, and Robert and Cold Cheese. And also, she said, "Hey, I ain't nothing to you but a cheap dollar bet. A cheap dollar bet." You know, she said that to Preach when he fucking told on herself, dumbass. Then, when I was at school, Brenda was so cold with it. She was kissing Preach when she saw his girlfriend coming. And then she slammed his head into the locker and said, "That's for yesterday, bastard." That was funny to me. That was so funny to me. And then A Few Good Men. For those who don't know, I am a Marine, and I like A Few Good Men. And this might be the best quotable out of any military movie. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth. So I like that line as well. There's so many movies and different interactions. Good Times, I used to like when JJ said, "Kid, dynamite." I used to like that. Good Times was one of the first sitcoms I actually watched. It was filmed in Cabrini Green. At the time, I was a little diaper-wearing kid. I actually lived in Stateway Gardens at the time. 38, 33, South Federal, 10th floor. I could see all the White Sox games looking out of my project window, y'all. So I just wanted to say that. So I hope you enjoyed the quotables from this episode of They Said. This has been another episode of Writers Live, y'all. Peace. You want some cool merchandise? Well, you want to go to writerslivepodcaststore.com. Also, we have t-shirts, hoodies, and drinkware accessories. You just shop, pick out what you like, and your orders will come straight to you directly. Also, subscribe to the Writers Live podcast. It's on all streaming platforms. You can even listen on writersonline.net. You can get my music from the link tree. You can access my merchandise store, and you can listen on all streaming platforms right through the link tree. So subscribe, rate, and review to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for Podcasters, Google Podcasts, and Good Pods. And you can also leave a review on writersonline.net. I appreciate everybody who's been listening to the show. Keep tapping in for great content and episodes. Thank you. We're dropping the mic on Writers Live. I hope y'all enjoyed these quotables from my favorite movies. It's just something like, my favorite actors, Glenn Turman, Nick Notice actually won, even though I didn't mention none of his quotables, but I do got one from Rich Man, Poor Man, the series, when he told Falcon Eddie ass, like, I thought everybody was supposed to mind their own business on these buckets. Unquote. Yeah. So I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, Quotables. This is something that I wanted to do. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You can go get you some podcast merchandise at Riders Live Podcast Store.com. It's in my link tree. Also, don't forget to listen to the What's Poppin' podcast anytime you want to on all streaming services. You can even go to ridersonline.net. It has all the episodes in its entirety, as well as the good music from Riders. Be on the lookout for my new EP coming out spring, summer, called Tremaine. It'll be 6 tracks. So, this has been another episode of Riders Live, y'all. Peace.